On Shabbos, you have a neshama yisera. You ever heard that idea? You have an extra neshama on Shabbos. So what is this neshama yisera? Right, we all think spiritual. Okay, there's one idea that you have a different spiritual connection. Almost like, see, people think neshama yisera means an extra neshama. It doesn't mean an extra neshama. Well, the best translation would be an extra dose of neshama. Not an extra, you don't become schizophrenic on Shabbos. You have two neshamas. It's an extra dose of neshama, which means that if you picture our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, picture a pipe, and there's some sort of connection between us. There's a stream connecting us. Shabbos, the pipe widens, and so there's more flow. That's the word. Thank you. There's more flow. That's one of the explanations. It's not neshama yisera doesn't mean an extra neshama. It means an extra dose of our neshama. We have more flow, more connection. That's one idea. Now, there's another place where the Gemara says neshama yisera is the relaxed feeling that you have on Shabbos. You're at ease. You're chilled. That relaxed feeling, which allows you to eat more than you normally do. So if you think about it in just very pure logical terms, the neshama leaves you on Motzei Shabbos. That extra feeling leaves you. So now you've got a stomach full, which needs to have neshama yisera in order to handle it, but there's no more neshama yisera, so it just adds up to a stomachache. It's just very logical. You've got a suitcase which was packed with double the load because it's stretched, but then it stopped stretching. So now your suitcase is just packed over and the buckles are bursting. That's really what comes out. So that's the idea. I mean, you see yourself how much you could eat on Shabbos, and you're really impressed. Like, wow, I can't believe what I just did. I just went off the charts over here. So that's what the explanation of Neshama Yisera is. In any event, now where did we get to in Parshas Toldot? I want to finish up so we can catch up to Parshas. Do you remember what the last thing we spoke about was? Anybody remember the last thing we spoke? Did we speak about the bracha? About Yitzchak giving the bracha to Yaakov. We spoke about truth, about remaining loyal to the truth. We didn't speak about that? You doesn't sound familiar? Okay, so let's finish up Toldos today. Isaac, I think you heard a lot of this on Shabbos. And so we'll let you, some of it might be a rerun. Okay, take a look at page 134. Take a look. Let's pick it up on page 134. Now Yitzchak calls in Esav and he says, "Okay, go get me something to eat, and then I'm going to give you a bracha." Okay, so Rivka overhears this, and the Mefarshim say that Rivka was funny. Does it sound familiar? Okay, Rivka. Well, you like that Neshama Yisera thing? There you go. It's the same thing every Shabbos. I sit down at the table, I just swear that I'm just going to control myself, And this time it's going to be 2 pieces of challah, 1 piece of fish, 1 piece of chicken. We're going to call it 1 piece of chocolate cake, and we're going to call it a day, right? It doesn't happen. It's never happened, and it ain't going to happen. The challah's good. I'm sitting there knocking off challah. They talk. There's a secular girl came to the house for Shabbos. First time she ever, a college girl, first time she was ever at a Shabbos meal. So they serve the main course, they make kiddush, they serve the first course. They have fish, they have about 4 different types of dips, 2 choices of fish, and challah, and the whole thing, Okay, so they finish the first thing, the men sing a little bit, and the women get up to start cleaning off the table. So she gets up, she cleans off the table, and she reaches for her coat. She says, "Well, thanks a lot, everybody. That was great. I really appreciate it." Because a college girl, what is she? If she eats tuna fish, she's happy. This was a repast for her. And they said, "Hey, sit down, girl. You ain't seen nothing yet." They sit down, then they start bringing out the real food. So I'm really impressed with it. I never eat soup, by the way. I'll give you a tip. I never eat soup Friday night. I eat soup sometimes Shabbos, Friday afternoon when I come home. That's my Friday afternoon. But never watch I ruin my appetite with soup. There's some good food coming. I don't want to ruin it. Then you get to dessert. My brother used to eat dessert after he'd make kiddush. After he'd make kiddush, he would eat challah, make a motzi, then he would my brother would eat dessert. because he liked the desserts, and he figured, why should I wait till I'm full? If I could, I made hamotzi already, so there's no sky's the limit now. Why torture myself? Bring out the blueberry tarts. Let's go. And then after that, if he wants to eat again, there's more dessert later. Not a problem. So that's the tip. In any event, so Rivka is listening in. Rivka eavesdrops. So let's pick it up. Pasuk Hey. Verivka Shomas. It's page 134. And it's 134, it's the fifth line, Pasuk Hey. Rivka shomas b'daber Yitzchak el Esav b'no. Rivka overheard Yitzchak talking to Esav. Vayelech Esav asoda lotzud side love. Esav goes out to the field to go hunting. Now, the Mefarshim say, why was Rivka listening? Rivka heard. Why was Rivka listening? The answer is that every time Yitzchak spoke to Esav, Rivka was listening in. She just wanted to be able to monitor things because she needs to stay in control. So she goes to Yaakov, and she says to Yaakov, okay, now I want you to go, and I want you to bring me, obey me. Take a look at Pasuk Ches, 5 lines from the bottom. Ve'ato b'ni shma b'koli. Rivka says to Yaakov, okay, my son, I want you to obey me. La'asher ani mitzava osach. I am giving you a command. This is a command from Yitzchak's mother. Now, why is she speaking in command form? Anybody know? What do you say?
I don't know, but how old is Yaakov?
Yaakov at this time, they're both 63 at this time. Okay? They're
Being commanded by their mom?
Being commanded by their mom, yeah. Some things in life never change. It's a command. It's a command. What do you say, Eli?
To stress the importance of what's about to happen.
To stress the importance, for sure. There's another reason. What do you say, Yishai?
Because Yaakov wouldn't do anything like she's about to...
She's about to send him in on something deceitful where he's the man of truth. Okay, that's certainly true. We'll see that she tells him that it's actually from prophecy, so he would have accepted it. Just she knows this through prophecy. We'll see in a second. But the Mefarshim say like this: you see, Esav has one merit to his credit, which is what? What does the Gemara say? The Gemara says no one in history ever fulfilled a certain mitzvah like Esav.
Honoring his mother.
Honoring his father and mother. Esav put on different clothing to serve his father, and he hunted and everything else. Rivka understands they need a merit to offset Esav's merit. Yaakov's got a lot of other merits. How are you going to offset the merit of Esav's kibud ava'im? The way you offset it is, I'm giving you a command now to do something that goes against everything you stand for, but it's a command. And now you're going to obey me with Mesiras Nefesh, at great personal sacrifice, you're going to obey me, and that gives Yaakov now the merit of honoring his mother. So now the zuchus is somewhat equalized over here. So again, there's one aspect I'm not going into with this bracha that Yitzchak's going to give. What a bracha is exactly? I mean, they're fighting over a bracha here. What is a bracha exactly? I mean, it's a bracha, whatever it is. Apparently, it's eternal. And it's powerful, and it's not a game over here. There's something called a bracha, and you're giving over this bracha, and it's important to get the bracha, and we see that there's a lot of fighting and elbowing to get this bracha. So apparently the bracha is something extremely, extremely potent at a spiritual level, and I don't know any more about the subject, but whatever it is, they did, and that's what they're fighting for over here.
Trust fund?
It's a trust fund. Yeah, I was going to say, it's like you're fighting for an inheritance, but it's on a spiritual level. Okay, however a bracha works. There are explanations for it, but I've never fully understood it. So he says like this: I want you to go, Lech el na'alatzon v'kachli misham shnei gedoye isim tov. Take 2 goats, ve'es osam matamim lavicha kasherev, and I'll make them food for your father like he enjoys. Ve'veitzel lavicha v'achal ba'avor she'yivrecha lefnei masa. You should bring it to your father, so he should give you the bracha before he dies. But Yomer Yaakov el Rivka imo. Yaakov says to Rivka, his mother, Hein Esav achi ish seir. Esav, my brother, is a hairy guy. Ve'anochi ish cholak. I'm smooth. Ulai yemusheni avi. Maybe my father will feel me. Ve'ayisi beinav kimsateya. And he'll see me as somebody who's trying to make I'm making a mockery of him. Ve'hevesi alai klala v'lo bracha. And this will cause me to end up with a curse instead of a blessing. So Yaakov's justifiably nervous about this plan. How's this going to work over here? You have to find 2 people who feel physically different than the Yaakov and Esav. So what does she say to him? Now this is one of the more puzzling statements you're going to see anywhere in Chumash. V'tomer lo imo, olai kilalascha b'ni. I'll take the curse. Ach shma b'koli v'lech kachli. I'll take the curse. The curse will be upon me. If he curses you, I'll take it. I mean, how do you do that? If somebody curses, don't worry, I'll take the curse. What do you mean? It's like, called it, I called it. I call the curse. You know, it used to be in life, if you call something, there's no greater, he called it. He called it. That's what you do. Shotgun. Oh, darn it, he called shotgun. There are even halachas of shotgun, right? You gotta be within range of seeing the car before you call shotgun. There's a whole Torah on shotgun. But if somebody did shotgun properly, no one in their right mind would think of violating shotgun. True or not true? Shotgun, he called. Say there's a bunch of guys who are drunk drug addicts coming out of a party, and one guy calls shotgun. We got all the respect in the world for him. Shotgun, hands off. He called shotgun. True or not true? Yeah, and nobody, except there's always one guy who's really the tag along in the group, who's just happy. He's like, shotgun. Oh, shut up, Charlie. Hey, just be happy that you're with us at all. Just be happy we didn't put you in the trunk. So Charlie.
If you call twice, it cancels out.
Oh, is that how it works? So you're not allowed to call shotguns? I didn't know that.
It cancels out. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know.
You can always call Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks? What does that mean? Back seat?
No, someone calls shotgun, you sit there and you refuse to move.
Oh, you call Rosa Parks?
I don't know if everyone does that.
That's a minhag. That's a minhag. It's not in the halacha. That's some minhag, in the South. But the way you call it, in growing up, my brother and I, we'd punch each other out. I took money out of his drawer. Stuff. It doesn't matter. But if we're coming back, if we're playing basketball. All of a sudden, my brother says, "I called the last 3 brownies." Darn it, I was thinking about those brownies. Darn it, he called it, and I wouldn't even think of violating it. It didn't even cross my mind to violate it. I took his stuff, I tortured the kid, I hit him from behind. Nothing, that he called it. He called it. What's going on here?
You didn't play, you had to see it before you called it?
No, who, my brother and I?
Yeah.
No, I called it from the car all the time. Called it, I got last 3 brownies. So once in a while, if it was, but that was the rule, and that was the rule, and it was always, whoever called it. So I called a Pepsi. Ooh, goodness, I wanted that call. All right, I'll have to go get a Slurpee now. Darn it, I didn't want to have to leave the house. There was that sort of thing, and you had respect. What's going on? I'll take your curse. What does that mean? I called the curse. What does it mean? So the answer to what it means is really contained in Targum Onkelos over here. And this really answers the question, and it answers several questions. Remember I told you about the tefillin with the Puerto Rican? I didn't tell you about the tefillin with the Puerto Rican either? The question of how could they go steal a bracha from Yitzchak? Isn't that deceitful? You're stealing a bracha from Yitzchak? Talk to the man, say something. Why are you stealing the bracha? So the answer is a story that happened in America where a Puerto Rican walked into a Judaica shop. And he said to the guy, I found these. He's holding a bag of tefillin. Found them. He found them in a shul. That's where he found them. He found a pair of tefillin, so it could be worth $1,000. So he says, I found these. You want to buy them off me? So the guy, the Jewish guy, frum guy behind the counter, he says, well, yeah, but let me just see if they work first. So he takes out the tefillin, he wraps on the first one, takes it, puts it in his head, opens up, and he says, hey, where's the one for the other arm? He says, what? He says, hey, it's not a full set. Give me one for the other arm. He sees one on the other. He says, where's the one for the other arm? He says, I don't know. This is what if I says, listen, if I give you $5, take it or leave it. I'm just in half sets, over here. The guy, all right, take 5. He gives him $5. He leaves. He looks and he sees the name. He picks up the phone. He says, hey, Moish, come on down. I got your tefillin over here. Now, would you think that he did anything wrong over there?
No.
Not a thing in the world. If I could deceive, you could cheat, kick, scratch, and steal in order to get those tefillin out of his hands. The same thing, you got a bracha over here that's about to go to the wrong person. They got to save that from Esav. We can't have Esav with this bracha because he's going to abuse it. So you got to do it. So that begs a bigger question. What's the obvious question?
Why would you not give him the bracha in the first place?
Because Yitzchak understood Esav being a certain way and that he's got a potential to use the bracha properly. Rivka saw a little more than she felt it could be, but not likely. And there were. And it could be that she could see, not clear, some of the fortune say because she was raised with a brother like Lavan, so she already knew how to see through people. When her brother was Lavan, the ultimate deceiver, So she was raised with a brother like Lavan, so you already know this behavior. There are even commentaries that say, where did an Esav come from? How do you even end up with a kid like Esav? The answer is the Gemara says most children resemble their mother's brothers. Most boys resemble the mother's brothers. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean a physical resemblance as much as a personality resemblance, because the mother exerts more of an influence on the children, and the children are going to, the influence on the mother is from her own family, and therefore the brothers, and it's from personal, both physically and characteristically. I've seen it over and over and over, and it's very true. It doesn't mean every single one of them. My own sons, I have 4 boys, they are much more like my wife's brothers than my own 2 brothers. Much more, in all ways, shapes, and forms. They look more like them, they behave like them, they have their tendencies over and over and over. So that's what. So where did she get an Esav from? The question isn't where she get an Esav from, the question is how'd she end up with a Yaakov? Esav, he's got an uncle Lavan. That we understand where she got an Esav from. The miracle is that she ends up with a Yaakov, because look at who her brother is. So the same way that she had a brother like that, when she has a son like an Esav, I've been through this dance once before. I know exactly what's going on here. That's why she had a certain insight that maybe Yitzhak didn't have. So there's it. Now, the question everybody asks is, why didn't she just tell Yitzhak? Why did she just tell him? Yitzhak, look, with all due respect, you've got, trust me, you're not seeing it quite the way it is. In other words, Rivka and Yitzhak both see what Esav is. The question is, at a very subtle level, it's like a machlokas in the Gemara. What do you do with that? It's not that he didn't see the facts. It's a question of what do you do with that? And Rivka held that it's a misread. Don't try, give it to Yaakov. That's what the machlokas was. So the question becomes, so why does Rivka just tell Yitzhak? If Yitzhak is being deceived, why doesn't she just tell him? So a very deep answer here. There's one of the commentaries, the Shem Shmuel, is one of the classic Hasidic commentaries. He says like this. You see, whatever a bracha is, there are different opinions. Is a bracha a prediction? But if it's a prediction, so what's a big deal? So you don't get the bracha. If it's a prediction, what's going to happen is going to happen. So what's the difference if you got the bracha or not? Is it a prayer? Is it a tefillah? So my understanding at a very, very unclear level, if you can't ask me any questions on it, but my understanding is that a bracha is a prayer mixed with a prediction of potential. In other words, a bracha is after there's a potential, you're saying a tefillah that potential should be actualized, something along those lines. So why does Rivka just tell Yitzhak? The answer is like this. Now pay attention carefully. The answer is that in Yiddishkeit, one of the highest forms of serving God is called simcha, that you've heard of, to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with simcha. Now, simcha does not mean putting a trampoline on top of a car and jumping up and down with a bottle of vodka in your hand. That's not simcha. That's jumping up and down on a bottle of vodka. That's fun, but it's not simcha. Fun and simcha are 2 different things. Simcha means serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu from a state of being upbeat, energized, enthusiastic. That's simcha. When you give a bracha, your tefillah in the morning, if you daven when you're feeling glum, versus davening in a state of simcha, you can't compare the potency of the davening. The davening when you're in a state of simcha is a much more potent davening. If Yitzchak's going to give a bracha, the bracha has to come from a state of simcha. If Rivka tells Yitzchak what Esav really is, that's going to deflate Yitzchak. That means he'll agree and he'll say, okay, I better give Yaakov the bracha. It's not going to be saying bracha. It's like giving the bracha on a day that you found out that, by the way, your stocks are down 20%. Now give me a bracha. Whereas if I give me a bracha, I say, oh, by the way, the market's up 20%. No kidding, bless you. That's a much different bracha. That's a much different bracha. So if Yitzchak's going to give, Rivka does not want to bring Yitzchak down. She's got to do this in a way where the bracha will carry full potency without Yitzchak being deflated. Now, how do you do that? If I tell him what Esav is, he'll listen, but there goes the bracha. So the only way we can do it is by pulling a switch over here. Now, take a look at Unkelus on Pasuk Yud Gimel. If you find it, show the person next to you. It's on the left column, Targum Unkelus, and it's on Pasuk 13. It's 3 lines from the top in Unkelus. If you find it, please show the person next to you. Onkelos is on the inside column, 3 lines from the top, Pasuk Yud Gimel. The Aramaic translation, which is a tradition from Sinai. Everybody see that. Va'ameres le'ime, his mother said to him, Olai, now the Torah says, Olai kilascha bini, right? Olai kilascha bini means upon me will be your curse. Translates Onkelos, Olai is amar binavua. To me was told through prophecy, de lo yesun levataya alach. Levataya is a curse. You will not get cursed. I was told through prophecy you will not get cursed. Do you see where that is? Everybody see where that is? Over here, Onkelos is over here. 3rd line from the top, Pasuk Yud Gimel, Va'amer Sleit. So Targum Onkelos translates it, and this is the Targum Onkelos was a Tana, a convert who became a Tana. And Onkelos says, the Targum Onkelos, which dates back to, it's a tradition from Sinai, that what Rivka was saying was, there ain't going to be no curse. Not that she's calling the curse. There's not going to be a curse, because I was told through prophecy there's not going to be a curse. Once prophecy enters this, then there are no questions on the whole charade. There's no question here. According to that approach, it's all kosher. Hashem doesn't give prophecy to bank robbers. I have a prophecy that I should rob the bank because they have a long weekend. I'll have more time to get away. God doesn't give people prophecies like that. So prophecy, that you should do it, and you don't have to worry about getting nailed. That's what Rivka is saying to Yaakov. Okay? Now, just keep that in mind. So she takes Esav's clothing and she puts the clothing on Yaakov. And then she takes in Pasuk 15, Ve'es oros gedoye ha'izim, the hides of, Pasuk 16, the hides of the goats, which she's making for Yitzchak, Hilbisha al yoda ve'al chalkas tzarav. She puts the goat skins on his hands and on his neck, which is exposed. Okay, so that's his costume. That's his costume. And he's going to go in with that costume to deceive Yitzchak.
Isn't Yitzchak pretty much blind at this point?
He is blind.
Why the need to put on...
In case he touches him.
clothing?
In case he touches him.
But I thought he was only worried about the hairy part.
Right, so that's why he puts on the clothes. Yeah, I mean, why is he wearing Esav's clothing? And what if he's going to give him a hug and he's going to give him a... Who knows where he's going to touch him? Okay, now, the truth of the matter is that you should ask the question that any child would ask at this point, which is,
What if he finds out?
what if he finds out? Very good. Not every child would ask. What if he finds out? In other words, what are you worried about? You'll steal eventually he's going to find out. Eventually he's going to find out. So why aren't you worried about what's going to happen afterwards? You're worried that he's going to find out and he'll curse you. And what about if he gives you a bracha and then finds out afterwards that he gave the bracha to the wrong person? You're still susceptible to a curse, right? Except that somehow they knew that part of the bracha is going to be orerecha orur. The commentary says, it's an excellent question. The commentary say, part of the bracha that he's going to give is you should be blessed this, blessed that, and those that curse you should be cursed. So he can't curse, he blocks himself. Once he gives you the bracha, he's not going to curse himself. If he curses Yaakov, that means he's cursing himself, that he's not going to do. Commentaries say that. So somehow they knew they had a tradition apparently on what the bracha is supposed to be and what's going to be included in it. So we're not worried about what's going to be afterwards. We got to deal with it right now. Okay? The question that you should ask, that any child would ask, is, that's not much of a costume. I mean, what if it slides off? You get some skin over here, some skin over here. What if Yitzchak fakes high, goes low, and touches him on the stomach? Nothing hairy over there. You know, it's not as far as costumes go. It's not the most articulate costume, the most elaborate costume in history. Considering you're trying to deceive a man who, even if he's blind, he's Yitzchak Avinu, he's plenty sharp. You understand? It's not much of a costume. So it's really good. It's supposed to be something a little bit more, something under the surface over. We'll see in a second. So Yaakov walks in, and now Yaakov is probably shaking, but his mother said to do it. So Yaakov walks in, and in Pasuk Yud Ches, Vayavo el Aviv, 18, Vayavo el Aviv, Vayomer Avi. He walks in, he says, my father. Vayomer Hineni miata b'ni. Yes, who are you, my son? That's a strange question to ask somebody who you just sent out for food. And he comes in, who are you, my son? Which tells you that Yitzchak himself knows his customers over here. Yitzchak himself is like, hey, you know, He knows something might be up. Who are you, my son? Vayomer Yaakov el Aviv, Anochi Esav bechorecha, I am Esav your first, it is I, Esav your firstborn, Asisi kasher dibartala, I did what you told me. Kumna, please stand up. Shva, and sit at the table. V'achla mitzedi bavur tevarachani nafshecha. Please stand up, sit at the table, and eat, so that you should give me a bracha. So Rashi says over here that Yitzchak was very confused. Because, Esav doesn't talk like that. Esav doesn't say, please, Dad, stand up and sit at the table and give me a bracha. And then Yitzchak says to Vayomer Yitzchak el beno, Mazeh miharta limsobri, what'd you find so fast? You hunted so fast? Vayomer ki hikra Hashem elokecha lefanai, Hashem your God has caused it to happen. He'll say, well, Esav certainly doesn't mention Hashem's name. He just does not. That's not Esav. And that's why Yitzchak's next pasuk, look at the Yitzchak's next word. Vayomer Yitzchak el Yaakov gishana, please approach. Va'amushcha b'nei, I want to feel you. Ha'ataza b'nei Esav imlo. Are you Esav or not? Well, what's the confusion? The confusion is because Yaakov sounds very much like Yaakov, even though they got similar voice tone. They're twins. So to throw his voice wasn't a problem, but he's talking like Yaakov. What's that? The language sounds like Yaakov, which itself is problematic. I mean, are you trying to deceive him or not? How would Esav say it? Esav would walk in and say, yo, Pa, get up, I got the grub. That's what Esav would say, right? And I'll say, hi, please stand up, maybe have something to eat. What happened? Hashem brought it. Who? Esav, how'd you hunt so fast? Well, Dad, I happen to be the best hunter in town, that's all. Now sit down and eat, I want that bracha. That's how Esav would talk. He says, Baruch Hashem, the Ribbon Hashem. Bli it was Mamish Bashert. He gives a whole. It sounds like a Beis Yaakov girl. Mamish the whole kit and caboodle over here. That's how Esav talks over here. Well, what's going on over here? And especially Yaakov Avinu, you're trying to deceive him. Why are you? It's like they had a guy in somewhere in Butte, Montana. There's a guy, an African American, who's about 6'10". In Butte, Montana, which is a town of about 37 people. So he went in to hold up the local grocery, and he put a mask on his face. He comes walking in, and the guy, he says, okay. And he pulls out the gun, and the guy at the grocery says, Andre, is that you? No, it's 6'10". It's your friend Bill Murphy, who you drink with every night. Who do you think it is at 6'10"? So Yaakov, you're going in. I mean, honestly, you could do a little better than that. And so Yitzchak feels, Vayigash Yaakov v'Yitzchak Aviv v'Yibashev v'Yomer Kol Kol Yaakov v'Yadayim Yidei. The voice is the voice of Yaakov, the hands are the hands of Esav. The voice is the voice of Yaakov. This sounds like a Yaakov talking. The hands, he feels like Esav. What's going on? So I saw one of the commentaries. I had this question for a few years. I was bothered by this question. I never found an answer. I found an answer this year. See, Yaakov's got a real good problem here. And you can't. He's caught in a bit of in a bind. If the deception is too good, then Yitzchak will think it's Esav. Right? He 100% convinced it's Esav. So when he's giving the bracha, who's he giving the bracha to? Esav. See, he doesn't. Well, he'll push Esav out of the way and stand there while the guy gives the bracha. That doesn't work. You didn't give me work giving me the bracha. You were intending it fully for Esav. So how is Yaakov going to deceive Yitzchak that he is Esav, yet manage to walk away with the bracha anyway?
He's unsure.
Very good. Yaakov has to create, the deception has to be with an element of uncertainty. And he's got to get Yitzchak to the point, one second, he's got to get Yitzchak to the point where Yitzchak's thinking, it sounds like Yaakov, but it feels like Esav. I'm not sure who this is here. You know what? I'm going to give the bracha. Obviously, the Ribbon Shalom is involved here. We see that he suspected it right from the outset. We said, who are you? Obviously, there may be something going on. I'm going to have das. My intent when I give the bracha, whoever's standing in front of me should get the bracha. And that's only a result of creating the doubt as opposed to the certainty. The certainty works against you. Too certain, and it works against you. Isn't that brilliant? And therefore, Yaakov creates that uncertainty. Whoever's in front of me is now going to get the bracha. And there are other commentaries that say the same thing. That Yitzchak got to a point, several commentaries say that Yitzchak got to a point where he senses that something's going on, and at his level he feels if something is going on, the Ribbon Shalom wants it to be going on, And if he didn't tell me about it, it's because it's Hashem's plan, therefore I'm giving the bracha to whoever's in front of me. And therefore Yaakov manages, that's how Yaakov manages to get the bracha. Okay? Yeah.
But Pasuk 24 says, he said, you are indeed my son Esau. So he knows that it's Esau. Even though there's that element of uncertainty.
Correct. Obviously he's got to lean more towards thinking it's Esav. Obviously the deception is to try to make him think more that it's Esav, but enough of a doubt that still, just in case it isn't, I'm going to give it to whoever's standing here in front of me. Okay? So, now, I want to go back to that Pasuk Yud Tes for a second. Go back to Pasuk Yud Tes. Vayomer Yaakov, he says, who are you? You see where I am, Pasuk 19. Vayomer Yaakov el Aviv, Anochi Esav Bechorecha. He says, who are you? He says, it is I, Esav, your firstborn. Now take a look at Rashi over here. Rashi is in the first column, the right column of Rashi, 2 lines from the bottom. Right column of Rashi, 2 lines from the bottom. It says, Anochi Esav Bechorecha. So Rashi says, what was he saying when he said, it is I, Esav, your firstborn? He was saying, Anochi hu amevilach. It is I who is bringing you the food. The Esav hu Bechorecha. Esav is your firstborn. What's he doing?
He's not trying not to lie.
Trying not to lie. It's not a full lie. Not a full lie. It's like one of those little white lies. I mean, that's also very strange. That's also very strange. You're in the middle of deceiving. You're in the middle of doing everything you can to deceive a blind man. But I didn't lie. Come on. Come on. You're in the middle of trying to deceive a blind man, and now you're trying, yeah, but it wasn't a full lie. I mean, what's the point? I mean, you're doing it. Just do it. Why do you got to go bend over backwards? Like the teacher said to you in class, Ailey, why'd you throw that? Ailey said, I didn't throw it. And her teacher says, Ailey, did you throw that? No. Turns out, I hurled it. It's a very big difference. A throw is like this. A hurl is like this. I didn't lie. You asked me if I threw it. I didn't lie. I hurled it. Right? Big difference. Come on. We all know what you meant. So what's the point? So the commentaries say over here, you see, you're right, Yaakov had a right to lie. You have a right to lie. But even when you're going to lie, even for a mitzvah, when you're going to lie, try to minimize the lie. The lie can be corrupting. The lie corrupts. You lied. It corrupts you. You might become habit forming. Try to minimize it, even when you're allowed to speak Lashon Hara. Sometimes you're allowed to say something negative about somebody for the good of the cause. Try to minimize it. Use a better adjective. You know, the guy's a thief. You know, try to say, well, he's not always 100% honest. And try to down so that it doesn't affect you. Sometimes when we're allowed to say something negative, we get all excited. Oh, good. Now I'm allowed to talk Lashon Hara. You know, he's no good. Yeah, try to minimize it a little bit. In the if in the yeshiva world, for example, when they check a shidduch, they call a Rabbi. We're checking up on a boy in the yeshiva. There's a shidduch that was suggested. Can I ask a question? Does the boy smoke? And so everybody said, well, let's put it this way, he's not the first guy I'd go to if I wanted to bum a cigarette. And I say, yeah, this guy smokes like a chimney, and a guy his middle name is Marlboro. You don't have to, they go easy, The guy, he's what do you call it? You have to say the facts, you have to be honest, but don't get all feverish about it. And if you lie, even when you're allowed to lie, do you know that the halacha says if your father says, who had the last piece of pie? And you know your mother did, and your father's going to get upset with your mother, it's a mitzvah to lie and take the blame yourself. Halacha and Shulchan Aruch. It's a mitzvah to take the blame. But the way you would do it is if you say, hey, who had the last piece of pie? And you know your mother did. So the way you say is, oh, it's really good. Oh, it's really good. Now, you didn't lie. I'm sure it was really good. Otherwise, you would have eaten it. It was really good. You minimize it a little bit. You have no choice. Then you say, yeah, that I ate it. It was me. Right? You understand? Because if you lie blatantly, it does have that danger. Therefore, Yaakov, even under these circumstances, is taking caution to remain the ish emes as much as possible. That's what he means, he's ish emes. Yeah, Eli, go ahead.
It's kind of like a fast forward. Is this why, did Yaakov get now the merit for his kids to lie to him when they sold Yosef?
There is such an idea that they deceived him with the goat because he deceived with the goat. Not only that, we'll see later on when Yaakov says, Yaakov says that they're covering themselves. When they bring the goats dipped in blood, so Yaakov will say they're covering them. What if Yaakov says, how could you deceive me? And their response, they're prepared, it never got to that point, but their prepared response is, well, didn't you deceive somebody with a goat? What's he going to say? But it was a mitzvah. Well, yeah, ours was a mitzvah too. I'll see your mitzvah and raise you my mitzvah. There's a mitzvah. And so their mitzvah, they're arguing that Yosef needed to be sold because he was a snitcher. We'll see when we get there. They had a mitzvah. Their mitzvah was wrong. Ultimately, it wasn't, but they had a religious excuse, which is when you're at your most dangerous, and it's a religious cause, then you're really dangerous. So Yaakov is like, okay, now, Yaakov gives the bracha. Yaakov gets the bracha. I'm skipping because I want to tie this up today. Yaakov gets the bracha, and then Esav walks in. I want to just finish this just to show you a remarkable concept here. Can't ask me any questions. You fill in the details yourself about how do people know and everything else. It's a painting. You got to appreciate the painting by seeing it. You can't have somebody explain the painting to you. Take a look at page 138. Pasuk 32, right in the middle of the page. This is a stunning approach from Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. Absolutely stunning. Vayomer lo Yitzchak, Yaakov leaves. Esav walks in, and he says, okay, Dad, give me a bracha. Vayomer lo Yitzchak aviv, mi ata, who are you? Vayomer ani bincha bechorcha Esav. Esav says, I'm your firstborn son, Esav. Now you realize something just happens to both of them. What does Yitzchak realize at that instant? He was deceived. What does Esav realize at that instant? Why is he asking me that question? Why is he asking me that? He sent me out for food and I brought him back food and I told him I got food. Now why is he asking me, who are you? I don't like the way this is going. Esav's not dumb. Esav understands it's something, I don't like that. It's like if a husband's in the house, his wife shows up, he says, why are you home so early? Every wife in the world is like, oh, is there a reason I shouldn't be? Something obviously is going on that shouldn't be going on. So look at Yitzchak's reaction. Next pasuk. Vayecherad Yitzchak harada gedol. Yitzchak trembles. Ad ma'od, a tremendous trembling. Vayomer, he says, Mi efo hu hatzad said vayaveli. So who was that guy who hunted and brought me? Va'ochal mikol b'terem tovo v'aracheo, and I ate before he came and I blessed, before you came and I blessed him. So who was that guy? Gam baruchiyah, indeed he should be blessed. That's not the way it should end. If Yitzchak just found out he's deceived, he should say, so who was that guy who just came in and I gave a blessing? That no goodnik. And what does Yitzchak do? Gam baruchiyah. He ratifies it. Rashi says, don't think that it was because of the deception. I'm telling you right now, I'm giving it to him with a full heart. What's going on here? A remarkable pshat. Rav Hirsch says like this. Yitzchak and Rivka, let's take a different approach. Leave the other approach. Yitzchak and Rivka all along have this ongoing debate on Esav. And Yitzchak saying, I see it, just like you see it. Don't worry, I know what's happening. And Rivka's saying, look, you do see it. I'm just telling you, you are being deceived. I'm not being deceived by him. I see through. I know he's trying to deceive me. I'm playing with it. And Rivka says, no, he's deceiving you. You think you're playing with it. He's deceiving you more than you could imagine. And they're going on, and Yitzchak says, no, I think no, Yitzchak Paskins like himself. All of a sudden, Esav walks in. What did Yitzchak realize at that moment? He realized he's been deceived. Right? Who's he been deceived by? He's been deceived by Yaakov, the non-deceiver, the Ishtam, with a flimsy costume. I mean, as far as costumes go, that's not much of a costume. And Yitzchak all of a sudden realizes, I've been deceived by a Yaakov, the goody-goody, with a flimsy costume that any 5-year-old would see through? And that deceived me? So what's Esav been doing to me all along? Ooh, that's when reality hits. That was the whole point of what Rivka was trying to do. Rivka was desperate. She had to come up with one plan to finally show Yitzchak, I'm telling you I'm right. And this is the ultimate plan. And at that point, Vayechrad Yitzchak Charad Gadol, Yitzchak trembles. You know why he's trembling? Yitzchak's trembling because he almost gave the eternal bracha to the wrong person. And he was saved at the last second. Can you imagine how you feel? He almost gave it all to Esav. And he was saved at the last moment by the deception. And he realizes that if that's what's been happening, imagine what Esav's been doing to me. Gam Baruchia. Indeed, he should be blessed. Now I'm ratified. She's right. He's the one who deserves the bracha. Gam Baruchia. Now he ratifies the bracha. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Because the whole thing, the charade, doesn't seem to make any sense. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow.